If you're a fan of the show, you've probably noticed that season two's release schedule has been a little erratic, inconsistent. Just over a year ago, I released the season one finale. And since then, so much has happened in my life. Not to get too into it or be too personal, but I went through a divorce. I moved a couple times. For those of you who don't really know me in person, I felt like I should update you and give you the reasoning behind the crazy, inconsistent release schedule. With all this happening in my life, I put the show on the back burner temporarily and would only release an episode every couple of months. I had all of them recorded, but it became a lot to actually sit down and edit and make sure the episode was up to my standard. I put that on the back burner for a while to figure my life out, to make sure I was taking care of my son and letting the dust settle with life. I went from 0 to 100 really quickly. I became a full-time single dad to a toddler. He's 4 now, but it happened when he was 3. And that just changed a lot for me. I didn't have as much free time. Once my kid was in bed, it's like, what do I want to do with my night? Edit and pass out, or play a game, or watch a show, or just literally anything else. So obviously that's what I did, and that's why there's been such a weird erratic release schedule. But things have settled a lot since then. Again, not trying to bore you with my personal life, but things have changed a lot, and new chapters, exciting things. And I wanted to let you know my hope for the future of Unholy Vibes is more consistency in my release schedule. It may be more spaced out now, not every week like season 1 was, but maybe once a month, twice a month. So my hope is things will get better. And I just want to let you know, Unholy Vibes isn't going anywhere. I'm here for the long haul. I love it. This is my passion, guys, and I hope that you've enjoyed being part of this passion project. And if you're still listening, this is the season 2 finale. Just me, just audio, just like season 1. I didn't plan it this way originally, but with how all of the other recordings came up and releases came up, it's like, yeah, I think I'm going to do that again and share my story. So, my dear listeners, today we're going to talk about the Dome Home. If you've been listening since the beginning, you'll know that I've had my own story kind of on the back burner. And I thought, what better way to end season 2 than with this story that I've referenced throughout all of Unholy Vibes. Now, if you know me personally, you'll know this story already, but I'm glad to tell this story again for those hearing it for the first time. It could be purely nonsense. It could be something. It could be nothing. It could be all in my head. I've said it almost every episode. I'm not sensitive to spiritual matters. I don't have a lot of experiences, if any. This may not even be something. But I hope that as I tell my story, you'll be able to put yourself in my shoes for a minute, see what I saw, hear what I heard, and then we can speculate together. In 2017, I lived in South Carolina with my now ex-wife. We had just gotten married. We'd only been married for a few months, and I was working every day doing a remodel. We were flipping a little house near the military base. So every day I worked all day doing manual labor with my stepdad. It was very fulfilling and satisfying, but it was a lot of work. I was tired a lot. And my wife at the time was working at a restaurant. I was working on this remodel, and our lives were really boring. In South Carolina, I lived in Beaufort. Love it out there. Very chill, very relaxed. We didn't have any friends out there. We moved out there specifically for the job. We would just come home every day after work and watch movies or play video games a little bit. One day I'm at the remodel and my ex pulls up and she goes, "Hey, we were leaving early. I booked us a trip." And I'm like, "Oh, what?" And I was actually kind of frustrated because I don't really like spontaneous surprises like this. It just depends. But I was like kind of not in the mood because I'd been working all day, and she came and got me, and we went home, grabbed some clothes, packed a quick bag, took a shower, all that. And she tells me, oh, it's in Georgia. So I'm like, huh? Well, at the time we were sharing one car, my old 2009 Ford Focus, a real clunker that got us from Utah to South Carolina to California. That thing went across the country and it should have blown up so many times and it never did until the time was right. And we got a new car. But I digress. So we have to take a 6-hour drive after a day of work in my clunker Ford Focus. And it was fine, but I'm upset. It's my weekend and you're making me drive all night. She said she got us an Airbnb in the middle of Georgia. It was like northwestern Georgia. I don't remember the name of the town, but I'll look it up. She had seen on Instagram that it was a really cool place to hike and see their waterfalls. They're famous for their waterfall. So she wants to go do something, which I don't blame her. We've just been kind of stuck at home every day after work. We had nothing to do. So we're driving, hours and hours and hours, and it's getting late and it's getting cold. Hours later, we're finally pulling into this town and it's dark. The GPS on my phone is taking us into the woods around this big lake. Beautiful lake houses, beautiful area, really. But it was taking us up into the woods, and then the road turned into gravel, like a gravel road. So I was like, okay, now we're really out here. We're in gravel, which, like, I grew up in the woods in Oregon, and I'm used to that, but I also grew up in the middle of nowhere. She's messaging the people on the Airbnb app, letting them know, hey, we're getting close, sorry we're late, and they're describing what their house looks like and what landmarks to look for, because the GPS eventually hits a dead zone. It's like your GPS is going to take you to this spot, but we're still a couple miles up the road. And I'm like, oh, cool. I'm about to get murdered in the middle of a freezing night in Georgia. I didn't really want to be there anyway, but I kind of started to give in to my fate. So we finally find this place. These people have a giant teepee that's half built, just the framework. And then their home is this big red hemisphere dome home. I had never seen anything like it. I have a picture of it and I might post it on the Instagram account, but I don't know. Is that weird? Anyway, we park and these people have animals. They're like in the middle of nowhere. They've got ducks, chickens, dogs, cats, and my least favorite, a fat goat. This was a little fat white goat that was almost a perfect sphere. This goat was fat and swollen and just ready to pop. It looked like a beach ball that was just white with horns. So I've mentioned this before, but the movie The Vitch holds a weird place in my soul. And this was 2017, so The Witch was still only a couple of years old at the time. And I had seen it a couple times at this point, and it just made me hate goats all the more. If you've seen The Witch, you know what I'm talking about. Black Phillip is the worst, and goats are the worst. So I see this little white goat, and it's kind of funny because it looks almost cartoonish. Anyway, it's like midnight, maybe later, by the time we actually show up, and they're awake. They say, yeah, just come on in. We park, we go in. The ground is freezing. There's icicles forming on the ground. That's how cold it is. We go inside the dome home and they are talking to us about the living quarters. And I am a fool. I don't think I had asked anything about the Airbnb reservation. My first thought is, oh, we're going to sleep in the dome home with this family. Like we're renting a room. And they told us they rent out the entire upstairs and they gave us a tour. This place is huge. When I show you the picture, you're going to be like, that doesn't look that big. From the inside, this place was pretty darn big. It's deceptive. They took us up this narrow staircase. They had dream catchers and Native American art hanging on the walls. They had a bunch of Himalayan pink salt lamps. These guys were hippy dippy hippies. They were out there. The husband was carving a flute. He had a knife and a stick and he was like, yeah, this is going to be a flute in the morning. And I'm like, oh, dang, bro. They had a little kid that looked like the young version of Tarzan from the Tarzan cartoon brought to life. Like this little kid, long hair, running around in his underwear, and he had an iPad with him. It's like, that looks like a little Tarzan. They had several kids. I want to say they had 2, but there might have been 3. And they were all just like these little wild wood children. They were really cool. Everyone was cool. We were talking to the husband and wife, and they go, yeah, we put a cable out there and a space heater to help keep you warm because it's so cold. And I go, what now? Well, it turns out that we were not staying in the dome home. We were staying next to the dome home in this little 8 by 20-foot shack they had built out of just some 2x4s and plywood. It was the wife's art studio they made into an Airbnb. They said, well, the upstairs we usually rent out to large groups because it's so big. They had like 16 people from a frat or something. And they're telling us, oh yeah, we started doing this for smaller groups and couples. And I'm like, oh, okay. So we walk outside up this little hill. It's maybe 10, 15 yards from the front door of their dome home. We go up and here's the door to the shack. The shack's door is plywood and some boards on hinges. It's not a door. It's a makeshift door. The door doesn't have a lock. It has a latch, which is just a piece of wood screwed into the door so you could turn it sideways. The door was not airtight. You could see in and outside with like this little half-inch to inch gap on different parts of the door. There was one, maybe two little windows, a bed, and like a little love sack bean bag on the ground. So it's like you can sleep there or you can sleep in the bed. Here's a little space heater. It's going to get cold. Take the blankets. By the way, if you have to go to the restroom in the middle of the night, you can just walk to the front door. I'm like, huh? Yeah. And they showed us, here, look, boom, boom, boom. We go inside. The restrooms are upstairs. So if we have to go to the restroom at any time from now till tomorrow, we are supposed to walk into their home. Don't knock, don't ring, just walk in, walk through the kitchen and front room, walk to the stairs, which are old and rickety, and walk up the stairs, be on the second level where everyone sleeps. Even this couple and their kids, their rooms are upstairs. From what I could tell, this place is big. Up the stairs, in the bathroom. Great. I'm pissed. I'm so upset because I didn't agree to any of this. It was just kind of sprung on me. And I'm like, come on, Alex, live in the moment. Trying not to like freak out, right? I ask my ex, I say, how much was this Airbnb? We're broke newlyweds. I don't have the money to be spending on Airbnbs, especially this shack. The shack was actually not junky for an art studio, but like, this is just not what I was expecting. She goes, oh, only $50 a night. Oh, it all makes sense now, right? $50 a night for the shack. A lot of their animals sleep outside. They have these big dogs inside. That they're the only inside animals from what I remember were the dogs. All the animals slept at the front door under like this light. It was cute. Anyway, we go to bed. It's freezing. We just layer with tons of blankets and have the space heater on, pass out. We're tired. It's late and I'm dead asleep. And I hear a loud shrieking scream, which scares me awake. I look at my phone. It's like 3 a.m. I hear this shriek and obviously it freaks me out. My heart's pumping. My ex is awake. We're both awake. We're like, what the heck was that? Why are we hearing a screaming in the middle of the night? I look out the window. I don't see anything. I don't want to open the front door. I'm like, what is this? I look out the window. I hear the shrieking and I see a little fat white goat. It's just out there eating garbage and shrieking in the middle of the night. I hate goats so much, and now I hate them even more. Guys, I'm in the middle of nowhere. I have no service. I'm in the woods. It's dark. I'm in a shack freezing my buns off. The space heater and blankets did help. But just put yourself in my shoes. I'm a little stressed, and now I'm like really awake. And I go, dang, I have to go pee, but I think I'm just going to go pee in the bushes outside. I'm not walking in this house. My ex goes, I have to use the bathroom. And I go, great, just go find a bush and squat. And she was adamant that she would not pee in the bushes. She refused to. And like, you can't just take one for the team right now. You're going to make me walk in their house. So I did. It's like 3 something in the morning, maybe closer to 4. I don't know. She's still half asleep. I am awake because of this dumb goat. I'm guiding her because she's blind, basically, without glasses or contacts. And This is the middle of the night. You don't put your contacts on just to go back to bed. Anyway, we walk down the little hill, the 10 yards or so to the front door. The front porch light is on. All the animals, the little critters, are huddled up against each other, trying to stay warm under the light. I didn't want to disturb them. You know, I'm not a psychopath. I'm trying to be quiet. I open the door and I pray these dogs don't start barking because they had barked at us earlier when we arrived. So I'm thinking, oh man, this is going to be really awkward when these big dogs start barking a ton and wake everyone up because we had to go pee inside. So we open the door and the dogs rush over to us, but they don't bark. Thank goodness. So we step over the little huddled up bundle of animals. We pet the dogs and try and keep them quiet. And again, I'm leading my blind ex-wife towards the stairs. And again, these stairs are kind of narrow, a little bit more narrow than what you're used to, I think. We're walking up creak, 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 every step. It's just, you couldn't have tried to make more noise. We get to the top and I'm like, hey, do you want to go first? She goes, no, you can go first. So I go in the bathroom and the bathroom door is a little bit off. So you have to lift it and yank it shut to get it to actually close. So it's like out of line. But I realize this and I put a little oomph into it. So I get the door to close. I use the restroom. I wash my hands and they didn't have soap. They just had a bunch of little different crystals and rocks in the soap jar. And I'm like, oh, is that crystal shaped soap? That'd be cool and on brand with these hippies. But no, it was just rocks. I just thought it was funny. Again, the door, I twist the handle, I lift and I pull. And I grab blind ex-wife's hand, throw her in the bathroom, say, here you go, lift the door up, slam it shut, and let her do her business. I turn my back to the bathroom door and I see the entire upstairs, which I've already seen, but I'm really looking at it now. Directly ahead of me and to the right a little bit is the staircase. To my right is a dark hallway to what I assume is the owner's bedroom. To my left, a big open loft style area with like bedding and bean bag things and love sacks and all that for when they host people upstairs. And then directly in front of me is an open door with the light on. And I notice there is a child asleep on the floor of this bedroom. Not unheard of, a kid passing out on their floor. And their light is still on, which is odd because I would think the parents would have turned their light off if they came upstairs and saw him asleep on the floor. I'm looking at this kid, and it's the Tarzan hair kid, the little wild child from earlier. One of them. There are at least two kids, but I only see the one. I don't say anything. I'm trying to be quiet. I don't move. I'm standing in front of the bathroom door. And as I'm looking at this child asleep on the floor, I hear a voice. Hello? Hello? I don't say anything. I don't respond. I am stunned. I can see this boy's face. He's asleep. Maybe it's one of the other kids, but where? I don't see them. Hello? Where are you? Nothing. I don't say anything. And out of my nightmares, the final line that comes to me from the disembodied voice, who art thou? I'm petrified. I'm confused. Maybe they fell asleep with something on their iPad still running, or maybe they fell asleep watching a show. I try to rationalize this. I'm trying to use my brain here. I believe in the supernatural, but I know I'm not sensitive to these things. It's the middle of the night. I'm tired, but I'm awake. That stupid goat woke me up. The bathroom door starts to jiggle. I hear my ex had flushed, but she doesn't know to lift the door handle and push really hard or pull really hard. I snap out of it. She jiggles and jiggles and jiggles. I grab the door handle from the outside and I think I pushed inward. She's still half asleep. She's trying to wash her hands. Again, realizes there's no soap, which I should have told her. She's finishing washing her hands. I'm like, let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. I'm freaking out. I'm scared. So I say, hey, let's go. Hurry up. And she's like drying her hands off. And then she's like, okay. She walks out of the bathroom and turns to close the bathroom door. And I'm like, leave it. Leave the door. Leave the door. Stop. Let it go, please. No. I got it. Again, she doesn't know to lift and pull because I had been guiding her and opening and closing the door for her because blind and half asleep. So I'm like, just leave the door, please. I'm freaking out. Just leave the door. I go in, I lift, I pull. I'm like, there, it's closed. Go. Let's go. I'm making it sound more panicked than I was because I was trying to be quiet, remember? So I'm more like, hey, let's go. Come on, it's fine. Let's go. We walk back down the stairs, back out the front door, back up the hill, back in the shack. We go back to sleep. Somehow, I was able to fall asleep. I didn't say anything because I'm not trying to start something. I'm trying to go back to sleep and hope that I wake up in the morning. I do wake up in the morning. We pack up and get ready to go about our day. And we go inside and talk to the owners again. How'd you sleep? Not so bad. Oh, that's great. The owners then say, we were on a podcast once. And they went on to tell us they were on a podcast. Now they're on a podcast again without being on the podcast themselves, but they're being talked about. So these guys got it going on. They go, we were on a podcast. It had to do with this crazy stuff happening, drugs, people that had visited us, blah, 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 blah. Not them doing drugs, like their guest crazy partied and made a huge stake, from what I remember. I wish I would have remembered what the name of their podcast was that interviewed them, because I could lead you there and you could listen to them. But anyway, they go, hey, you go have fun. It's beautiful, the waterfalls, blah, blah, blah. But if you guys want to come back and stay another night, just text us, let us know. We can do it outside of the app. Looking back, they were probably just trying to keep our options open and be kind and make a few extra dollars instead of Airbnb taking their cut. At the time, I was very leery of these people in this home. My whole experience from the night before had really thrown me off. We exchanged our pleasantries and niceties, said, yeah, maybe we'll let you know. We'll text you if we decide we want to stay another night. And then we left and explored the town, hiked a little bit, saw some waterfalls. It was cool. I had a good time. I got on my grumpy mood, even though I'd been scared to death. I genuinely can't remember when I told my ex what had happened. I can't remember if I had told her as soon as we got back into the shack after the experience. I don't think I did. I really think I told her the next day as we were out and about exploring, and that's one of the reasons we both agreed not to go back. I would love to go back to this town. It was just from a movie, dude. It was just so old-timey in the best ways. Really nice. Good views, good food, good people, really nice folk. That's my story. I was extra scared because, again, the vitch, little kids speaking in Old English. Who art thou? Where art thou? Disembodied voices. I don't know what it was. It could have been nothing. It could have been something on their iPad or screen of sorts, stuck in like an idle animation loop. Or like one of those DVD menus that just kind of repeats itself on loop over and over again. If you're older, you'll understand what I mean. Some of these youngsters these days don't know what a DVD is. I don't know what it was, but I look back and I think middle of the woods, middle of the night. I hate goats. I'm already on edge from this goat. I don't know. And I'm okay not knowing. In my fantasy, I go back someday. It could happen. I'm pretty close now. But I'd love to go back someday if I could find the time for it and find the exact location. I could probably find them on Airbnb again. That town, that area, I'm bound to find a little shack or a dome home. So I could go back and explore and ask questions. I'd tell them, hey, I stayed here almost 10 years ago. This is what happened. What do you think that was? Because I'm sure they'd have either a reasonable explanation or they'd be like, yeah, we don't know. That's weird. Or maybe they'd be like, oh, we were trying to murder you. Or there's the ghost of whatever. Blah, you're in the middle of the woods, burial grounds, blah. Who knows? And just like most places, it was less scary in the daytime. So, listeners, my friends, my loves, my dearest unholy vibes enjoyers, what do you think it was? Like, genuinely. Shoot me a DM on Instagram at unholyvibespod. Email me at unholyvibespod@gmail.com. Reach out. I'm curious. I love to speculate. Even my own experiences is like the only spooky experience that gave me those unholy vibes that I've ever had. Like, this was like the big first thing that ever happened to me. And it's relative to some of the other stories we've heard on the show. It's nothing. Still scared me, but compared to some of the others, to me, it was big. Years later, I had something happen to me. I think it's because I had not slept more than a few hours. And I also had brought about major unholy vibes the night before. Coming full circle, listeners, the night before this next event, I had heard the story of the red-faced man for the first time ever. I had driven from California, where I was living at the time, to Utah for a wedding. I had to go by myself. My ex was unable to get the time off from work. I had gathered with a group of my friends, our dear friend Taylor Sant, from the Red-Faced Man included, obviously, and we had started talking about our spooky stories. You all know the Red-Faced Man, and if you don't, go back and listen to the Red-Faced Man, the story that started it all. I heard that story for the first time, and it was more intense than when she came on the show because it was fresh. The next day, I had to drive back from Utah to California, which was a long drive, and I was by myself, and I left. I had gone to bed at like 2 in the morning. I probably left at like 10. I don't remember exactly when I left in the morning, but I knew I was tired and alone, and driving tired and alone is not great. My trip was about 2/3 of the way done, and I'm driving through a winding path on the way to California in my little Hyundai Elantra is what I had at the time. Great car. And a truck gets behind me. It's dark. A truck gets right up on my butt and starts flashing me. I'm going 10 over the speed limit. This guy wants to zoom. And this is not just like a pickup truck. It's like a semi-truck, kind of, but like a short bed semi-truck that had like a big water tank or something on it. It's tailgating me so close, flashing its lights at me. When we get to a straightaway, it would pass me. I'd slow down, not trying to get into a road rage incident this late at night or at all. The truck passes me and slows down, like goes 30 when we should be going 65 or 75 or something. And I'm like, what the heck is this for? What is happening right now? So I pass them because they're going half the speed limit. I start zooming again. I'm going the speed limit. Well, no, I'm probably going 5 over, maybe 10 over in some spots. And this truck gets right back up against me, right back on my tail end, flashes its lights at me, honks at me, isn't getting aggressive necessarily, but it's just getting in my, that's aggressive, but not aggressive as if they were trying to run me off the road. And I hope that makes sense because it was an aggression, but not the kind you would think. I let them pass me, and the same thing again. They slow down. They don't hard brake me. They're not brake checking me. They just slow down to like half the speed limit again. And we repeat this cycle like 5 times. And I'm starting to freak out. Like, what is happening? Are my tail lights out? Is it a tail light? Is it a blinker? Something must be out. They're trying to warn me maybe. I have no clue. Well, eventually, gosh, this is crazy to even think because I think I was just really tired and stressed from the weird incident. I think I was just really tired and had several hours left in my drive and it was dark. I look in my rear view mirror at the edge of my vision. I see long hair, like silvery white, long, straight, very neat hair. And I think, what did I just see? And I look and I'm like, oh, I'm just looking at the headrest in the back seat, probably. Nothing. But then again, The next time a light flashes behind me from another car, as soon as the light hits a certain spot, I see this hair again. And as I focus and see it a little bit more, it looks like there's a woman in my back seat, not looking at me, looking just straight ahead or out the window, and has long hair. I don't see extreme detail I'm seeing in my peripherals. And I start to think the drive is getting to me. I try to ignore it. I pray. I put on music. I'm trying to just distract myself from whatever I might be seeing. Again, these things are nothing, but the truck flashing its lights, honking, passing and slowing and passing and slowing. I don't know if I did anything to piss them off, or maybe they were trying to warn me. I genuinely don't know. At my next stop, a couple hours later, I checked all my lights, my blinkers. Everything was fine. My backseat was empty, but I guess it was just the right angle with the right lighting. Made me see face. I'm over here thinking like a horror movie, waiting for a face to pop up in my backseat. But I was a little on edge. I still had unholy vibes following me from the night before. So I like to think I was just in my head, at least with that incident. The first one, can't explain it. Disembodied children voices, I don't know. But I'm glad I didn't answer, that's for sure. Anyway, that's it for me, dear listeners. Thank you for sticking with me through season 2. Whether you've been here since the beginning or just found the show, I'm so grateful for you. I'm doing this for the love of the game, you know this. But the more people who hear the show, the more likely it is that someone out there has a wild story to share. Huge thanks to every guest who's come on and told their story, this season and last. Every single one of you is part of what makes Unholy Vibes what it is. I'll be taking a short break to gather more incredible stories from ghosts to aliens, stalkers, demons, killers, anything and everything in between. In the meantime, follow me on Instagram at UnholyVibesPod and shoot me a DM or email unholywibespod@gmail.com if you got a story or thoughts about mine. Season 3 is coming. I might even drop something special around Halloween, so stay tuned. And as always, stay spooky, and I'll see you next time.